Hey Pittsburgh, if you're watching this video, you probably have hail damage on your vehicle. I'm Gene with Dent Repair Now, and today I'm going to answer all of your questions and show you the entire process from estimate to repair on how we handle hail damage using Paintless Dent Repair. Check it out. All right, so the truck is in the shop. The first step with any kind of hail damage or any kind of estimate really is to start with a clean vehicle. So the truck's been washed, it's nice and clean. In reality, the insurance claim has already been started, the work is approved, it's in the shop. It's more of an educational video for you. But I'm gonna go through and show you exactly how we do everything. Clean car is number one. And then we use this liquid chalk marker. So what we're gonna do with that is with our light in the background, that's the big white thing right there. That lets us see all of the damage. And I'm actually gonna grab my other camera and show you a close-up of what the damage looks like. All right, so you can see here, we've got our light on the panel, and we use the transition between light and dark to really show us where the dent is and how big they are. And coming up right here, I want to show you what it looks like with our line reflector. And basically the lines bend around each dent, allowing us to really identify where the dents are at, how many dents there are, and what size. The way insurance companies work is they use a form called a matrix, and it's based on the size of dents and the number of dents on a panel, say in a range. So somewhere between 16 and 30 dents, 31 to 50, and so on and so forth. All right, so I'm going to use the marker, move the light all around, and make sure I get everything and mark out all of the damage. So now I've got everything circled on the hood. I'm going to give a dent count. So really it's just the number of dents and see exactly where that falls in the ranges on the pricing matrix. All right, so the initial count is 25 dents. So that puts us in the range of 16 to 30. Now, there are a couple of dents that are bigger. Anything bigger than $50 has to be counted separately, and it's what we call an oversized dent. So now I'm actually gonna pull out $50 and size up these dents, see how many oversized we have, and I'm gonna show you how we decide and how we measure whether it's an oversized dent or not. So I'm gonna zoom in and show you exactly what an oversized dent is and how we check it out. And here's what we use right there, one US 50-cent piece. So that's industry standard, is accepted by all insurance companies. So let me show you. The one on the back, driver's side corner of the hood is the largest dent. So I'm going to show you exactly what the distortion looks like. All right, you can see I've got the $50 placed on top of that dent. I had the left side marked, so that's where I put the left edge of the coin. And using the reflection of the light, you can see the metal is distorted to the right side of that coin. That does make that an oversized dent. In comparison, the dent below is just about the size of a quarter. That is not an oversized dent, and the coin would cover it completely if we moved it down. So really, any dent over the size of the $50 increases the amount of time and skill that it takes to repair. So that is actually charged per dent separately from that range. You know, like the whole count on the hood was 16 to 30. So it'll be 16 to 30 dents plus X number of oversized. So now I'm going to finish sizing out the hood and see how many oversized we have. But I hope that explains the sizing of an oversized dent to you. So you can see we've got our light set up again across the panel, just like we did for the hood. In a real world scenario, we're going to go around the entire vehicle, top to bottom, side panels, roof rails, the roof, and everything. And that's how we're going to identify the damage. Again, I already wrote this car, so this is an educational video, but I want to show you what we found on the fender. So on the fender, we have one nice sized dent right on the top. It's about the size of a quarter, but we're up against something here, and that is access. On this particular vehicle, the outer fender and the inner fender are built as a box. It's almost more like a door would be than a typical fender. So that doesn't allow us to have any access to the dent from the backside. Over here is where we're going to use that glue pulling method. When we're writing the estimates, if there's part of the panel that we can't get to, It's more difficult and time consuming to repair it without being able to reach our tools to it. So there's a double panel or a glue pulling access charge. And that's what we're up against right here on this dent. So I'm gonna bring you over here. I'm gonna open the hood, look underneath, and show you why we can't get to the dent. During the repair process, you'll get to see how we have to use the glue to do it. So come on over and check it out. All right, you can see the dent right there on top of the fender. And let me take you down here and show you underneath on a car that's normally wide open. On this truck in particular, we've got this carpeting cover to make it a little quieter while you drive. Underneath that is actually a solid metal inner fender that doesn't really afford us any access to the backside of the dent. Now if we come up here and open the hood, inside of the fender, it's solid up top. There are a couple holes down below, but it doesn't really make sense for us to be able to reach up to the top of the fender. All right, so for the roof, I had you climb up inside the bed with me. That's the easiest way to see most of the roof and be able to properly size and count all of the damage. Also, you'll see on this roof, I think you can see, yeah, you can see for sure, there are ribs that are there to strengthen the panel, or yeah, strengthen the roof panel. Part of the problem with that is when you're looking from the side, the rib being raised actually blocks part of your view for seeing in there. So looking front to back with the light all the way up front is gonna let me see all of the damage. I'm gonna go ahead and circle it all out, and we'll speed up the footage. All right, so our dent count on the roof, there were just a handful in front of the sunroof, is gonna be in the 31 to 50 range, quarter size again, with 8 oversize. Now, because we have to climb up and down ladders and also contend with these ridges and everything like that, there's also an upcharge. You can look at it a couple of ways. It's either a tall vehicle, which means up and down on ladders, or an extended roof, which is, you can fit almost 2 car roofs in this kind of space. So we've gone over the whole vehicle, we've found our damage, identified the size, the counts, everything like that. The next step in the estimating process is to figure out what we need to take apart to get to the dent. In the industry and with insurance companies, we call this R&I. That stands for remove and install. On this particular car, we've already talked about the fender. There's not really much to take apart to get to it, so there's no charge for R&I on that. However, the hood, especially with this damage on the backside, we're gonna actually need to take that off of the vehicle. Underneath the hood is what we call a hood pad or an insulator, and you'll get to see that during the repair process. We need to take that down, again, to gain access to the backside of the dent. So the hood will need to be R&I'd, the insulator will need to be R&I'd, and there isn't much damage on the front of the hood. If it were a bit more severe, we would actually have to take the bug shield off as well. Inside of the truck, and this is a question we get asked all the time, we are going to have to remove the headliner. Now we're not actually on this vehicle going to remove it from the car. We're going to pull all of the side panels down, and the liner itself will lower down. So we're gonna need to R&I the headliner. This particular truck has a sunroof. Where the damage is at, we don't need to take it apart. On most vehicles, and or if this was a little bit more severe, we would have to lower the sunroof cartridge assembly as well. And I'll show you that as we're taking everything apart. So our final estimate on the vehicle is as follows. The hood is 16 to 30 quarter size dents. It's an aluminum panel, and there's 2 oversize. The roof is 31 to 50 dents, the average size being a quarter, with 8 oversized dents and an XL panel or tall vehicle charge on top of that. The right fender is 1 to 5 quarter size dents with no access, so we're going to be glue pulling that. For remove and install for the R&I, the hood and the hood pad, as well as the headliner, nothing on the right front fender. We are also going to be reapplying the corrosion coating inside of the panel when we're done to make sure there's no rust or corrosion in the case of aluminum. And that's really about it. So next step, we're gonna start taking this thing apart. I'm gonna show you how we do it all. All right, it's time to get to work. We're gonna start inside the truck with the remove and install of the headliner. Everybody gets so nervous when we talk about removing the headliner to gain access to the back of the dent. I'm gonna show you today exactly how we take everything apart. I'm actually gonna set up a GoPro and time lapse the whole thing for you. All of the cars today are built with very exacting standards. There really is zero tolerance for error, and everything goes back together tight and exactly in the right place. When I first started working on cars, that wasn't the case. Things had lots of room for error. They actually used screws that would drill their own holes, so it didn't really matter where you put it back. It would just drill a new hole and go in. None of that is the case today. Everything lines up perfect. So I'm gonna set up a GoPro, get in here and start taking this apart. I'm actually gonna grab the phone too and show you all of the, the pillars are gonna come down, the sun visors, the center console, everything like that. So you'll get to see the whole process and see exactly how we do the whole process in real time. All right, come on in and check it out. All right, so hopefully you can see this pretty well. So this is the A pillar, B pillar here, C pillar in the rear. These little flaps come down right here, 2 little screws. This flap opens right here, 1 screw. This cover comes off and there's 3 screws. Got your center console here that comes straight down. Same thing on that side. And again, we're gonna leave the sunroof in this particular vehicle, but you'll get to see that it is really a lot of work, but it's not a big deal with what has to come apart. All right, the headliner's down. There's a view of the underside of the roof, up over top of the sunroof cartridge, and out in front of the sunroof cartridge. If the damage was a little bit more severe, we would actually have to lower that out of the way as well. Now I want to show you how this A pillar with the alignment pin right there and the pressure clip right next to it, those go into slots inside of the truck. It will only go back together in exactly the right way. In fact, every piece of this headliner is built the exact same way, from these holes for the grab handles to every other component. All right, we're gonna go ahead and set up the GoPro again to let you see the roof be repaired, start to finish. We're basically going to go in through the windows here, go in that way, probably roll the rear slider open so we can get that, and just check back and forth, and much like the hood. So I'm gonna set the GoPro up, try to get you a high angle so you can really see everything. All right, so you can see we were all over this roof, through the windows, out through the bed, you name it. We were working every angle we could to get this thing looking brand new again. Check out the reflection. There is no remnant of any dent left on the roof. There's one of those oversized dents, perfectly repaired, all paint free. Now, let me hop back inside and show you how we put the headliner back up and how it all fits back together. All right, so it's time to get started on the hood. We're gonna drop the hood pad first. That's the insulator right here. And then we're actually going to unbolt the hood and put it on a stand over here. And once it's on the stand, I'll sort of show you why we had to do that. So check it out, here we go. So these are just a little, get the focus, little pine tree clip is all that holds that liner up. And that tool pulls them out. All right, so now we've got the hood all set up on a stand here. The biggest reason we do that is this is the front of the hood, right? We can reach everything here. There are dents back here that are almost impossible to reach from the front, and we certainly can't pull the windshield out and stand on the dashboard. So that's it. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and set up GoPro. We're gonna shoot the whole repair in a time lapse so you can see exactly how we fix everything. All right, see you on the time lapse. All right, so while I'm fixing the hood here, I want to jump in. I'm going to show you exactly how we do paintless dent repair, like exactly what the process is. So this dent in particular sits just above this brace. We're going to slide in with this tool in between the brace and the outer skin and then get in, and you can see it's one small push at a time. A big misconception is that the dents just pop out when we touch them. In reality, we are reshaping the metal one tiny little push at a time. So now, let me speed this up so you don't have to stand here and watch me push a dent, and you can watch the dent come out in super fast motion. So you can see it's just a series of dozens and dozens of pushes to remove that dent. When it's all done, the metal's back to perfectly flat. So the hood's all done. Right there is where our oversized dent was, if you remember from the original estimate. This came out perfect, just like the roof, restored to like it never happened status. All the way across the hood, no flaws were left, no dents were left. It is absolutely perfect. All right, so now it's time to install the hood. It's 4 bolts. It's generally a 2-man job. We'll get it in there. We will tighten the bolts up snug and then check for fitment. So we want to line up and make sure that our gaps are correct in between the hood and the fender. And that's what we're doing right here, is just adjusting it and making it perfect. This is part of making it like it never happened. All right, so the hood is done and back together. The roof is done and back together. Now it's time for our last panel. That's this fender. And if you remember from earlier in the video, this is a spot that is not accessible with tools, or at least not without taking the bumper and the headlight out, which is pretty excessive for one dent. What we're going to use is a glue tab. So that looks just like this. With that, we're going to use a specially formulated hot glue. We're going to glue this to the panel, to the dent, and then we have a slide hammer. We're actually going to bump it up. It's typically a back and forth sort of process. So pull the dent high, bring out our hammer, knock it down, and it's back and forth until you get it just right. So I've got the glue gun warming up. I'm going to walk over and load the tab up. We're going to bring the camera over and let you see exactly how it works. We're going to turn the light on and all that good stuff. So come on over and check it out. All right, so you can see we are zoomed in on the dent. I need to clean it off with a little bit of, it's actually a rubbing alcohol we use. It cleans and preps the surface. It's also our release agent for the glue. So you can see the dent. I'm going to get this hot glue and get it going. So you can see we've got the tab and the glue right on top of the dent. We have to wait until it's perfectly dry, but not too dry, before we pull it. That's about right. This is our slide hammer. Oh. And 0 with the first pull. That's all right. We'll clean it again. Do it again. And that's part of what makes glue pulling so fun, is it's not an exact science. It doesn't always work on the first try or the second try. A little bit of movement that time. It's that same alcohol that lets us remove the glue. And now you can see that the whole dent is actually pulled up high. My cameraman says, yes, you can see that it's high. So now we have to come in and bring this down. I don't know if you can see it in the camera or not. Oh, we still got it's not nearly as sharp, but this whole area here is still a dent. So we have to go back with a different size tab now and pull again. As you can imagine, if we had access to where we could get a tool on it, this dent itself would just take but a couple of minutes to fix instead of several minutes with glue. But it's still a good trade-off instead of pulling the front bumper and the headlight. There's a little bit of a misconception that the glue just makes dents pop out, and that certainly is not the case. That actually looks pretty good. All right, I hope I was able to answer all of your questions about estimating how we do paintless dent repair, everything pertaining to hail damage today. If we can help you out, visit us on the web at dentrepairnow.com or give us a call at the number below. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. If you have a question or anything, leave us a comment and subscribe to our channel. I'll see you on the next video.